Just because she's beautiful doesn't mean she's good for you. That's why I say choose wisely, because I didn't, and I got the raw end of the deal. Welcome to the Anonymous Andrew podcast. Life and the choices we make, the choices other people make. This is a podcast that explores all things as they relate to dating, romance, and relationships. Why we sometimes ignore or miss the red flags. Red flags like gaslighting, cheating, lying, psychological manipulation, mental illness, addiction, and so much more. Join me each week as we continue my journey into the modern dating world with my weekend rants, anonymous guest dating stories, and experts who share their wisdom so I can help you navigate the dating terrain. If you are new to the show or have been following me from the beginning, hold on tight for the Anonymous Andrew experience. Greetings, everybody. Anonymous Andrew with you. It's Sunday. I think it's September 17th. A few things. Oh, if you didn't know, this is my weekend rant. So, summer's over. Not officially, but yeah, it's like when you live by the beach, you go by the beach weather. I did go to the beach today. However, because it is Rosh Hashanah, my beach partner could not make it. And there's some other people I go to the beach with, my tennis partner, but nobody's going to the beach because Labor Day weekend is officially the end of the beach, and the beach is open. You can't go swimming, but you can go down to the beach, and it was 70, let's see, what is it? Well, now it's 74 degrees, but earlier, it's like 3 in the afternoon. About 12 o'clock, it did hit like 76, 77 degrees, and I was down on the boardwalk. I took my bike down, and it was just beautiful. There was on a cloud in the sky, and I took the bike down, and then I sat on one of the benches overlooking the beach and did my meditation and just thinking, doing that thinking. Sometimes it's stinking thinking. And I think that's what my rant's going to be about. You know, I'm in recovery from alcohol, and I guess throw drugs into that. And we concluded somewhere in season 1 that while I put the alcohol down, I picked up love or women as my drug of choice. One could argue that relationships, love, women have always been a drug of choice for me because my pattern had always been there prior to me getting sober. The difference between alcohol, drugs, sobriety is that alcohol and drugs can actually completely fuck up your life. Financially, it's you know what I'm talking about. It can really bring you down to the lowest rock bottom you can get to. Relationships don't fall far behind, but because like in the last relationship, when that ended, I my rock bottom was pretty bad, and it had a trap door, as they say. So this rant may sound a little disorganized. I'm supposed to be taking a break. There are no rules in podcasting. There are matter of fact, there's no such thing really as season 1, season 2. It's an option. I could just record episodes and make it all season 1. I think some podcasters do that. If you look at their podcasts and they have episode 400, they didn't necessarily break them down and, like put 40 episodes in season 1, 40 in season 2, whatever. Sometimes they just start and keep going and never break it into groups. I'm doing that because I'm on a journey, and there are phases to this journey. So season 1 was, at least in the very beginning, starting this podcast to figure out, research, understand what had just happened. I had a girlfriend that it seemed was my twin flame, my everything, my forever person, until it wasn't anymore. And yet I stuck around, and you know the story. And I found out she was doing all sorts of things, and the more important thing was that there was infidelity, sleeping with other men, and doing things in the adult entertainment industry. So that was season 1, trying to figure all that out, why I stayed, why she would do that to somebody, anybody, all of that. And we kind of reached a conclusion around episode 58, yada, yada. And along that whole ride, there is, I jumped in between guest episodes, and I started doing these weekend rants where I would come to you and give you a personal update, like I'm doing now. And I didn't really start doing that. So the beginning of the podcast, I did, the first several episodes were really just me, and then I slowly brought guests on, and they were friends or people I had known who went through traumatic breakups, people who were struggling in the dating world, yada, yada. And then I jumped into bringing on real experts and guests, doctors and coaches and therapists, practitioners and all that, into understanding the things like gaslighting, narcissism, I'm drawing a blank, but everything that, all the buzzwords that we've been throwing around, trauma bonding, betrayal, all that stuff. And along that journey, and me jumping on doing these weekend rants, which just really started over the summer, you guys really gave me feedback like, wow, what a difference. Yeah, go back. I mean, I'm going to mention it, but go back and read some of the reviews. You literally said to me, some of the guests were just so boring. And I don't know if the guests themselves were boring. It was how I was conducting the interviews. I would say, oh, this is John Smith, and he is a romance coach, and hello, John, tell us your story. And he would go on, he or she would ramble for 40 minutes, and I wouldn't necessarily stop and ask questions. I did in many of them, but the idea was that some of them went on too long. Some of the intros were too long. Some of you didn't like the music. I started getting all this feedback from you guys. And the bottom line was, you liked when I come on and do these weekend updates and kind of get really vulnerable and honest and tell you. And people seem to be completely amazed that I would come on the internet, because podcasting is internet based. Yeah, your cell phone, you just click on a button and you can hear 2 million different types of podcasts. I decided to come on and completely open up my world, my private world, my personal life, and expose it to you. Now, there are a lot of people who do that. There are all these social media influencers, and there's other podcasters who do this. It's not uncommon. It's done quite frequently. Basically, you're doing it every time you post on Facebook. You're basically, if you post pictures of your kid's birthday party or your husband's anniversary or your whatever, when you post on social media, you are opening up your personal life in pictures and in your comments, especially if they get political. And it's being done on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, all of them. Twitter. Oh my God. Everywhere you look, there is all of us exposing ourselves. And that's just us volunteering that particular information. Then you got all these softwares that are collecting that data. I just joined TikTok. I was on all of the social media platforms. I shouldn't say all. I'm not on Snapchat and Reddit. I'm not on some of the other mainstream ones, but the real basic ones: the Facebook, the Instagram, Twitter, which is now X, Threads, which is Instagram's answer to Twitter, LinkedIn. Now I'm drawing a blank, but all of them except TikTok. I wasn't on TikTok, and I guess this will be part of the rant. Just when TikTok was taking off, like I don't even know how long it's been around, but let's just say somewhere in the 2016 to 2018, I think maybe it really hit the scene and started growing. When I met my ex-girlfriend, and about a year in, that's when she started teaching me tarot cards. And she had a TikTok profile. And of course, TikTok, like a lot of the platforms, are very popular in different countries, in different languages. And her language was South American, Spanish. And her entire TikTok was in Spanish. And she was doing tarot readings on her TikTok. And I don't know how, but she started to gain a following. And I'm not going to say she went viral, but each weekend she would come to me and say, hey, I got 1,000 followers. Next weekend she had, 1,700 and all the way up to, like, at some point she had 10,000 people following her. And it was all because she was doing tarot readings in Spanish on TikTok. At the same time, and I don't do this anymore, but there was a time that I would listen to the cable news networks. I would listen to CNN, MSNBC, Fox in the morning. Sometimes at night, I would tune in. I no longer do that because of what's going on in this country, the political climate. I do not want to be sucked into the vortex. And now I'm going to say it, with Trump's indictment, and now they're trying to impeach Biden, I don't want anything to do with it. I really don't. It's only going to split this nation down further. It's already split. It's going to crack this nation. And I wouldn't be surprised if there was a civil war, maybe not a violent one, but some sort of a real separation in 10 years. I don't know. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. The point is, I stopped listening to the cable news. I also was cable cutting, so I don't watch TV anymore. The only TV I watch is I subscribe to Netflix, Hulu, Paramount, Apple TV, and I think there's another one I'm forgetting. And I haven't tuned in to a regular television station like CBS, NBC, where they have these shows. Like, remember your Friends and Seinfeld and all those networks? I have not watched any of that in years. And it's because I don't have time, number one, and the time that I do have watch TV, I'd rather watch something on Netflix or Apple TV. There's some really, really good shows on some of these platforms. Kind of lost my train of thought. TikTok. So, while I was watching those news stations, there was all of this, especially if you listen to the right side of the political aisle. TikTok is based in China. It was created and developed in China, and it came to our country, and I don't know the history, so I'm not going to try to give you any data or information because I really don't know. But what I was hearing back then was it was the Chinese government way of spying on the American people. Now, remember, I'm not claiming that. I'm not saying that's what I believe now. I'm saying this is what I had heard 2019, something like that, 2020. And I wasn't a big social media guy to begin with. I was on Facebook, yes, but did I use it more than once a week, twice a week? No. I popped in. I remember my high school reunion. They posted something. I joined the high school reunion club group. I really wasn't a social media person. So, and then Instagram came along, and I opened up an Instagram account, and I literally forgot about it. When I opened up Anonymous Andrew podcast on Instagram, they said to me, "You already have an Instagram account." I'm not going to tell you what it is because it's a personal account and it's private, and I want to keep it separate. And I forgot about it. So I had to bundle the new account with that account. I had also opened up a tarot account. That one I'll tell you about. It's called Tarot by Andres. If you want to follow me on there, Tarot by Andres, Andres, if you want to follow me. It's where I do my tarot readings. And I was doing that while she was on TikTok doing her tarot readings, I was on Instagram doing mine. She was getting thousands and thousands of likes and followers, and I was getting 10 or 50. And I think I have, 500 followers at this point, but I don't do it anymore, or at least as much. This podcast has completely taken over my life. I get up, I go to work, come home, I check my podcast email, I check my guests, I schedule, I record, I edit. Folks, there is a lot of work to be done on a podcast. I had no idea what I was getting into. Not complaining, I'm just filling you in on what goes on. And it takes up a lot of time. And I guess in hindsight, looking back over the past 11 months now, by the way, today's September 17th. The ex and I split October 11th of 2022. So we are coming up on 1 year of not seeing her, talking to her, no contact. I'm going to make a segue here in a second. So the other day I was talking to my social media person. I was going through, listening to other podcasters, and all I kept hearing was tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. And I said, you know what? At this point, I don't care whether the Chinese government is spying on us. I think we're already being spied on by our government. What's the difference if it's the Chinese government, our government, or the what do they call it? The Illuminati? There is nothing private about your life anymore unless you are completely off the grid. Okay, if you have no social media, if you have an email account, there's nothing private about you. That email account is not private. Unless you got a special server and you do VPN and you really lock it down. But if you have a Gmail account, there's nothing private about you. Anyway, I decided to join TikTok. And I have an iPhone 13, which has my Instagram, my Facebook, my Twitter, or whatever. I have an older iPhone that has a lot of pictures of the X and I, plus it has all of my music. Before iTunes shut down and before Apple Music came on the scene, I had, oh God, there's a word for it. What's the word? Back in the day, I had CDs of music, and I would load them onto my iPhone. So I would make my own playlist, not using iTunes. I wouldn't be buying the music, whatever. The point is that this iPhone has all of my stuff on it from years ago, music and other stuff that I don't want to get rid of. I just have to sit down one day, delete a bunch of things, and then I'm going to download them from the cloud onto a drive, and then I can get rid of the phone. What I'm trying to get to here is that I put TikTok on that phone. And last night I tried to do a TikTok video, and it was horrible. Number one, I can't figure out TikTok. I just can't figure out how to use it. I thought it was very similar to Instagram, and it does have similarities, but I cannot. But that's because I haven't watched a YouTube video. I haven't researched it. I sat down and I figured out how to do a reel. So I do have a 60-second reel on TikTok now. If you want to follow me, I am, guess what? At Anonymous Andrew Podcast. TikTok at Anonymous Andrew Podcast. Yes, follow me, like me. I'll follow you back, whatever. I'm trying to figure it all out. Okay, so let's segue that into, I think at some point I'll probably end up putting it on my main phone, but not right now. I did get hacked this week. My debit card was fraudulently used, and the hackers might be listening. I don't know, but as you know, the card has been declined, and it is. I now have a new card, which I guess if you want, you come after. But whatever. That was a pretty big event this week. Was working with my bank trying to get that shut down. As far as dating, folks, if you listen to the wrap up of season 1, and I kind of jumped on here today to tell you that I can't wrap my head around the dating scene right now. Yes, I told you multiple times that I've been on multiple dates over the summer. And except for maybe 2 or 3 of them that were scams or people were trying to catfish me or scam me, they were all lovely women, and my mindset is still in, you know what, I'm gonna say it. And Helen, if you're listening to this, and Helen knows who she is, if you guys remember, I went on a date a couple of weeks ago and we named her Helen. Helen said to me several days before we went on our date, and I'm going to leave something out of that next statement. She said to me, we had a phone conversation, and she said to me, it sounds like you still have a torch for your ex. You remember saying that, Helen? And it turns out that I might. I had therapy this week. I think I told you that on my Friday episode. The ex and I are never going to get back together. That's just, it's not going to happen. I have more self-respect for myself. I cannot let that happen. Not even if it's not even an option, but I'm just saying if it became an option. But I'm stuck. Let's just say it. I'm in the rabbit hole. I'm deep in the rabbit hole. I have been on dates, and the ladies have been wonderful and lovely, and I've even talking to some of them, but I haven't followed through to the other woman who I haven't given a name to, and I know that you and I were supposed to connect and talk and meet. I'm not there. I'm just not there. Yeah, can I go on a date and let's go out and get coffee or run down to the boardwalk while the weather's still good or do whatever we want to do? It's just not going to go anywhere. I know that now. Listen, the idea of dating at some point is with intent to find somebody that you can spend. Let me just stop bullshitting you. Get into a relationship with and be happy and share your life with. I don't see that happening anytime soon. Even the dating part. So I'm kind of like stuck here because season 2 is going to start in, let's say, mid-October. And it's going to be all about dating. And I'm on all these dating apps. Folks, if I check my dating apps once or twice a week, that's a lot. I just, A, don't have time for it, and B, I'm just not interested. But I have to stay on Bumble and Hinge and some of these other ones, and I jumped on the new one called Koi Amore, which we're going to talk about. There's a new app on the scene, and it's going to be in season 2. I interview the founder. I'm just not there. And it sucks. I have fallen into a routine of being single. All right, everybody, my support system, everybody from my sponsor to the people in my mood support group to my close circle of friends, all said to me, you're a serial dater. You're a serial relationship. You are addicted to relationships and women, and you don't know how to take some time off and settle in your own skin. So I stopped dating and getting into relationships, and I have now been single 11 months. Excuse me, I had to take a sip of water. And in those 11 months, I discovered, a lot about myself. And I've gotten into this routine Monday through Friday. I get my ass out of bed at 5:30 in the morning. I drag it to work. I have a miserable fucking day at work because my boss and the people I work for are just fucking idiots. But I get a decent paycheck, and I'm kind of stuck with that. I want to go to Florida. I want to move down there. My middle son is down there. My third son, who's up here, also wants to go down there. We're trying to figure a way to get the three of us a house down there where we can buy a house and live together. And that's where I'll retire and croak, to put it bluntly. That's where my spirit will go up into the never, never world. But in the meantime, I'm stuck here in New York. And I'm stuck in this routine. And now that the summer's over, I have no beach, no good weather, no bicycling. The only thing I'm going to have is my tennis on the weekends because I do belong to an indoor tennis club. So, yes, during the winter we play indoors. During the summer we play outdoors. So now I'm going to go back indoors. Other than that, the only thing that I have in my life that I am passionate about, all right, family aside, before I even finish the sentence, my 2 grandchildren and my 3 children, they are my world. Okay, let's just say that number one, because the next statement is going to sound like I don't care about them. The only thing other than them that I have passion for is this podcast. I have found, I don't know, maybe one day I'll take a picture of the setup I have here. I got a little studio in my home, like most podcasters, independent podcasters do. They do it from their home. They don't have, like Joe Rogan, he's in a studio somewhere. I don't have the money or the time for that. Anyway, this is my little world right now. I come home from work, I eat dinner, and I jump on my Mac and I start scheduling, answering emails, recording, ranting, like I'm doing now. So, I'm supposed to be taking some time off from this podcast. So, from your point of view, as the audience, you're going to see some changes. You're going to see season 1 become season 2, and season 2 will be episode number 1. You're going to see like the logistics of that. But in reality, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not taking a vacation. I'm not going to Hawaii. I'm not. Let me talk. For example, my mentor, Rory Uphold from Crimes of the Heart, she announced 2 weeks ago that she was taking. She also ended her season and was taking a month off. And she said, I'll be back in a month. And she's got such a loyal following that, like myself, I follow her and I listen to all her episodes. She's going to be fine because the people that follow her are going to start listening again when she puts her next episode out, which could be a month from now. I can't afford to do that. If I say to you guys, I'm going to take a month off, and I stop putting episodes out for a month, I'm going to lose you. Yes, I know your iPhone will probably alert you if you're following me that I have a new episode out. But by then you may have tuned in to 10 other episodes, podcasts. And I want continuity. I don't want I don't even know if I'm explaining this right. So season 1 ended. Season 2 will begin, but in between, I'm still going to give you episodes. It's just the subject matter is going to change. All right, season 2 will be all about dating, and the problem that I have is that I'm not going to be dating. I'm not there. And God, oh my freaking God, the freaking holidays are coming. You know, I drove past a house today on my way home from, where the fuck was I? Tennis. And they have spider webs coming down from the roof to the grass with these 10-foot spiders. It's September 17th. Halloween is 6 fucking weeks away. And they already got Halloween decorations up. Ugh. As I sit here sighing and ranting, I can hear the kids next door playing. You know, they say youth is wasted on the young. Is that the phrase? If I only knew. If I only know. What's the phrase? If I only know then what I know now. Whatever. Okay, you have just witnessed or listened to me go from a rant to a ramble, because now I'm starting not to make any sense, and I've gone way over my rant. So there's your weekend rant. There's an episode dropping on Tuesday. Haven't figured out quite what I'm going to do over the next 2 weeks. So yes, during this break is some of the logistics. I got to figure out what I'm going to switch it up a little bit, because if I'm going to do the weekend rants, before it was Tuesdays and Fridays were the episodes. Too many. Tuesday, Friday, and then there were 2 guests, and then me on the weekend. That's 3 episodes a week. Too much. Even for me, too much. So I'm cutting it back to 1 guest a week and 1 rant a week, and let's see how that works out. And I already have about 8 episodes recorded for season 2 on dating. If you have a dating story, any type, you met on a dating app and you're happily married, I want to hear it. If you want to tell it, again, anonymously, that's the name of the show. You can come on, I can change your voice, I can change, you don't even, your name. If you want to come on and tell us horrible too. If it's a horrible story, we want to hear it. Anything. I would love to hear from you. I do have Sophie coming back. I don't know if you guys remember Sophie. She, maybe in the first 15 episodes, she made her appearance. She was really struggling trying to find a man in the dating world. And she called me the other day and she said, I got more updates for your podcast. So Sophie's going to come back and tell us about how bad. Hey, guys that are listening to this, the women are not happy with us. And then I heard a podcast this morning from, I might as well mention it, Rudy A. talked about that the men are bitching about the women on the dating apps. So we got a gender war going on here on the dating apps. Nobody's happy. And then I heard the other day from somebody that they heard it completely different. That they heard that she has 6 or 7 of her friends that all met their husbands or wives on dating apps, and they're very happy. So I guess it's who you talk to, whatever. So, all right, I've gone way over my rant time. Folks, thank you for listening. Please leave a review. Please reach out, say hello. I could use some support. Just to hear from you, just to say, hey, I'm a listener, I like your podcast, or I don't like your podcast, whatever. leave a review. I got a couple of things coming up in season 2 we're going to try to explore. But in the meantime, I'm going to take some time to regroup and figure out how to make this podcast better. I want to be better for you guys to enjoy it. So, all right, guys, if you need to make a choice, if you have to make a choice, I urge you to make a wise choice. Why? Because I didn't. And I got fucked over royally in my last relationship because I chose poorly. So please choose wisely. Until next time, ciao.